Hi everyone, my name is Serdar. I'm a 25-year-old rare plant enthusiast slash collector. I'm not yet a collector because rare plants are as expensive as they're rare. And just so you know, I'm not an expert. These are just information and tips that I can give you. I gathered this information because these questions are being asked to me quite a lot, especially in these days since everyone is at home, everyone is under quarantine, and they want to make the best out of the environment that they're in. And houseplants is must have for interior decor, in my opinion. So lots of people around me in general are asking me about these things. So if you also want to know 5 most important things you must know before buying a houseplant, then keep on watching. First, I would like to talk a little bit about myself and why am I filming this video. My interest in houseplants started around 2 years ago, and now I am collecting rare houseplants. My interest started with this Monstera species. I really like their fenestrations and leaves with holes. Then I started collecting variegated Monsteras, and over time I became interested in tropical plants in general. I started to read into forums, get into communities, read articles about plant care, and I started sharing my experience and my knowledge kind of through like a diary type of Instagram page, and I'll make sure to link it down below if you want to follow that. And I can say that this kind of comes from family to me because since I was a little child, my mom has always been a plant collector. Right now, probably we have over 200-300 types of plant that does not exist in my country at my parents' place. We have like 2 specific rooms only for plants with grow lights, with purple lights and everything like that. So I was always familiar with being a plant collector, and my interest just took off in the last 2 years. So I just wanted to share a few tips with you. Alright, I made a list, and the first one in my list is roots. Oftentimes you cannot see the roots of a plant. If the plant is not healthy, you can most of the time see it through the leaves. The leaves might be yellowing, or they might have some damage, or they might turn a little bit brown, or they might look a little bit down. So you can notice that there's something wrong. But since the roots are oftentimes in the pot, you cannot see if there's something wrong with the plant. So I suggest you to check the roots before buying a plant, because if the plant does not have a healthy and well-developed root system, probably that plant is going to die in a couple of weeks anyways. So what I can recommend you is to take a plant gently. This is a basilicum I keep at home to put in pasta and dishes like that, and just gently, slightly turn it upside down. And if you can see roots from here, like from the holes in the bottom, or if roots are coming out of the bottom, probably that plant has a nice, well-developed and healthy root system. Another way you can check is to slightly and gently hold the plant like this and check the roots. You can ask for help from a salesperson to check the roots, or you can do it when they are not looking, because I think this is completely okay to do. As you can see, this plant has a healthy, well-developed system. If the roots are not looking white, or if there's not many roots, or if they are like kind of mushy, brown, blackish color, probably the plant has root rot. And root rot is a very hard thing to deal with. And if you're not a professional, probably you wouldn't manage, and that plant is going to die anyway, so just don't waste your money on that one. Second thing you should check about your plant before buying is pests, fungus, bacteria, and viruses. And how can you check that? For this one, you should check and examine your plant carefully, but this time the leaves. Turn your plant around carefully and examine it. Specifically, look under the leaves. Look near the stem and carefully examine your plant before buying. If you see any discoloration, if you see any bugs, any spider webs, any kind of pesticides, then probably you would not want to buy that plant. Most of the times people are confused between sunburned leaves and pest damage, but you can tell the difference by touching the damaged part. Sunburn damage is very usual and it's very normal. It just means that some period of time the plant gets just too much bright direct sun, and that's just an aesthetic problem. It's not a big issue. But if you have pests, that's another story, to be honest. So if the leaf has some browning, check it, touch it. If it's dry, if it's crispy, then probably it's sun damage. But if it's mushy, if it's turning yellow, if it's turning brown, if there is like spots on the leaves, if there's holes on the leaves, probably it might be pests. And the problem with pest problems are they are infections. They can get to different plants in your collection, and if you don't know how to deal with it, they are quite difficult. And I know some collectioners who have lost their entire collection because of one infected plant. So it's just not worth it. Even if it's cheaper, just do not buy unhealthy plants in general. Third thing you should know before buying a plant is to research and know about the specific light requirements for that plant. You can ask a salesperson or you can do your own research, but just do your research, because if you have a north-facing room where you want to keep a plant, and if you want to have a plant that loves sunlight or needs at least 8 hours of direct sunlight or indirect sunlight, probably that plant is not going to be happy there. Or you can consider investing in a grow light. That way you can just turn it on a few hours a day and your plant would be happy and thriving. Also, it could be useful during winter period as well. Grow lights are very useful in my experience. On the other hand, if you have a spot on your balcony or in your house that gets lots of sunlight, but if you put a shade-loving plant over there, probably that plant's leaves are just gonna burn and get crispy, so I wouldn't recommend that either. Fourth thing you should know before buying a plant is the growth pace of that plant. If you have a small apartment or if you live in a dormitory, if you are looking for a plant to buy in your dorm room, then maybe you shouldn't get a plant that grows so fast or that gets so big because of the limited space you have. On the contrary, if you have a space that you want to fill and you want a big voluminous plant, but it's too expensive, maybe you can consider buying a smaller sized plant and watching it grow in your own conditions. And I really enjoy buying a small plant and watching it grow, to be honest, and I can recommend that for having a healthy plant as well, because that plant is going to be growing in your own conditions, in the conditions of your house. Then you wouldn't have to think about acclimating that plant to your house conditions because it's already going to be grown over there. That's going to be a healthy plant. So just consider that if you want to save some money or if you want to enjoy watching your plant grow. I do, to be honest. Fifth point you should know before buying a plant is to check if they are poisonous, If you have a small children, or if you have pets in the house, if you have a cat, if you have a dog, be careful, because most of the plants, specifically the tropical ones that became so fashionable in the latest years, are very poisonous. In a trades Facebook group just last week, I have seen a person making a warning about alocasias, because their 8 months old cat ate the leaves of the alocasia, and unfortunately they had to put it into sleep because it had a kidney failure. That's really sad. So make sure to check if those plants are poisonous to children or to pets that you might have. Alright, so we covered 5 most important aspects you must know before buying a plant, and I will give you a bonus one. Alright, the bonus one. Lately, the plant business is going crazy. Plants are becoming a fashion, and you can see this kind of Instagram pages selling plants all over the web. I wouldn't recommend buying from an Instagram page just because it has a beautiful feed, because first, are they reputable sellers? Second, do they have healthy plants? Third, how is the plant going to travel? Those things you cannot know for sure. So I would either recommend buying from a very reputable website, which kind of gives you a guarantee if anything goes wrong with the cargo, if the plant is handled roughly, or if the plant is left in a cold environment for a night, overnight, or something like that. Just look for a seller that guarantees you a payback of your money if anything goes wrong, for example. Or just do your research about these websites, because they might have beautiful feeds on Instagram, but it doesn't mean that they have healthy plants, or it doesn't guarantee you that you will get the plant that is shown on the pictures. I could recommend you to go to your nearest gardening center or nearest nursery and take a day of your weekend, make a trip. I really enjoy doing that. Walking around gardening centers is my favorite weekend activity, and I can guarantee you, you will get much better prices than those internet sellers in your local gardening shops. And also you can get much more information about those plants. Check the roots, choose the plant you would like to get, or check for pests. Ask the salesperson about the needs of those plants. How should you water it? How should you fertilize it? Or what kind of soil does that like? Or what kind of light should you give? Just make sure to ask, and you could learn lots of useful information from those people working there. And I guarantee you, you will get a better price at the local gardening shops or reputable sellers on the internet than those Instagram pages. Alright, this was the 5+1 tips that I could give you before buying a plant. If you like this video, make sure to like and leave a comment maybe down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and just ask me to do more videos like this as well. I will definitely consider that. This was my first English video, and I'll definitely consider making more if you like this one. Hopefully, I'll see you on the next one.